What's with the alternate look?
It's the 1930s.
Yeah. All right. Right on, man. I got it. I'm down.
Were you able to listen to
Recording?
the recording I sent?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Strange fruit.
Had you heard it before?
I have. It's been some time. I mean, I know the story behind the song, or what the symbolism of the song, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very powerful
It
tune.
is. But I'd like you to put yourself in the shoes of someone who had never heard it before.
Right. Honestly, it had been so long. Many of the lyrics, I was like, oh yeah, damn, it's spooky.
November 1931 is kind to few, least of all the little guys caught between the cold shoreline, the crummy breadline, and the frontline violence of mobsters and G-men. Every day, the news is so bad that people don't even want to line their clothes or shoes with the papers that report it. But the chill talks them into it. Maybe, if they live one more day, it might be work. Although the suffering and the violence are getting worse every day, the papers take any opportunity to write about something else. Scandals, gangsters, socialists and socialites. Hundreds of small fry jump or get jumped every night. But if one rich guy stumbles,
So, as a reporter for the Boston Post,
A post.
yes, it's difficult to make ends meet, giving the editor considerable sway over where you go and when you go there, if you want to get paid, if you want to keep your press card and that sort of stuff. And this is 1931, and winter is coming, and it's going to be a long and cold and difficult winter by all accounts. Now, Terrence McSweeney, are you a good reporter?
Of course, I'm a good reporter. I mean, not a bad reporter.
Mean? What is a good reporter?
I try to get to the bottom of the story. I try to tell the truth. I try to let the public know what's going on. I don't stop at just the surface. I ask the difficult questions. I try to see what's going on behind the scenes. Public's got a right to know, after all.
Okay. Now, on this cold autumn night in Boston, 1931, You were summoned to the phone on the ground floor of your tenement house to receive a late phone call from the editor to inquire if it was true, and it is, that you have had dealings in the past with a private investigator by the name of Eddie Driscoll. Now, Driscoll's in the papers because of success and in the papers because of scandal very often. He doesn't shy away from cases that maybe other men might. So his name is attached to high-profile, splashy scandals with rich men and younger women who,
I like him already.
He's attached to murders. He's attached to rum runners and smugglers. He gets his name in the paper a lot. Your advantage is that you and he are the same age and spent some years of school together. All right? Eddie Driscoll. Now, rumor has it that Eddie Driscoll spends just as much time in the bottle as he does awake. And his drink of choice is, well, anything that he doesn't have to pay for. Even though prohibition still reigns, he has this reputation of being a drunkard. Now, right now, Terrence McSweeney, you are across the street from his second floor office. The streetlights in this poor neighborhood, only every second one is lit. And there's a cold breeze blowing up the street from the harbor. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it's a moonless night. And under the darkness of the city, you can see the thin curve of the Milky Way overhead. You can almost smell winter in the air. And it's quiet. This isn't a residential section. This is office spaces, doctors' offices, financial offices, that kind of thing. Everything is closed down. All the windows are quiet. Now, maybe somewhere up on the top floors, there are flops or private apartments or landlords' apartments, things like that. But these two are dark. Just not that unusual as families are trying to save every penny. Driscoll doesn't have any other address. So if he's home, he's in his office. Just across the street, up on the second floor. You can see his office window, and it has the thin stenciling, right, of Edward Driscoll, Confidential Investigations. So you've been waiting for some sign of Driscoll. Okay?
Right.
You don't have a watch. Such devices they exist, but they're not common yet. You can't afford a pocket watch. You can't see any of the town clocks. So it feels like it's around 9 o'clock at night. Right? It's getting colder, and you're in a front basement staircase, right? Brick building behind you, again, quiet, as if nobody lives there.
Right.
waiting for sign of Driscoll. When?
And did my editor? Oh, okay.
No. Let's
Did
hear
my
that
editor say?
understanding.
Did my editor say anything about, like, what he wanted me to talk to Driscoll about, or?
Yes.
Uh,
Driscoll has been attached in the rumor sheets of your competing newspaper to a fellow by the name of Albert Gavigan, who is, as one of the Gavigans, he's wealthy, he's untouched by any of the troubles which the common man has to deal with. Right? He's not living in the world of prohibition like everyone else. He doesn't have to worry about work ever. He's set up for life. Never has to leave his estate. But recently, there have been hints of erratic behavior. And there have been thefts reported on the Gavigan estate. And there's a theft reported locally at an auction house where, for some reason, lots were put up by the Gavigans. Why are they selling their things? Some whispers ask.
Makes sense.
All right. So he's hoping you can pump Driscoll for the inside scoop.
Exactly.
Whatever it is that Albert Gavigan, the second son of the Gavigans, not the important son, but the only son who really gets seen about town. His older brother, Edward, has a fierce reputation for competence and being a man's man, but he's often traveling and out of the city.
Yeah, so not very newsworthy, is he? All right. All right, Driscoll, you're awake, you're not awake, you're drunk off your mind. Suppose the door of his building is probably locked.
Well, he has a secretary. And if she's there, the door will be open.
Oh.
But earlier, when you arrived, rather than freeze your cojones off on the street, the door was locked when you checked, and no one has come back. There's no back ways into this building.
No lights on that I can see in his place.
Right. No lights. Until a friendly English setter, Finn, and shaking in the cold, checks you out before moving on.
Good boy. Man, that broke attention. Holy crap. Oh, God, I scared him out of my mind already. All right. When all of a sudden,
overhead, there is a blinding flash. Reflected, but also mirrored in Driscoll's window. Right? Superimposed, like burned into your retinas, are the image of Edward Driscoll, Confidential Investigations. The light was in the sky for sure, yet also in the office. Just a flash, right. No sound, just silence. But then the silence is broken by the sound of a limping man dragging his feet, maybe newspapers wrapped around his feet. You can you can hear it. Step, drag, step, drag. But the problem is, Terrence, the sound is coming from behind you. And there's a wall behind you.
Holy smokes. Well, I'm moving as far away as I can from the sound that's behind me. So I'm looking, you know, kind of like that. In the meantime, my real intention is to try to get into his building because I don't know what the hell just happened. So
Right,
I'm
so
kind of,
move
you
out
know,
into
wrestling. Yeah, I'm wrestling between two actually between two definite motivations, but like I want to get there. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell was that? What the hell's that? Both of them leading me in the other direction.
As you step out into the street,
Yeah.
softly but clearly, as if suddenly someone opened a door and allowed the sound out. The haunting sound of a smoky jazz singer's voice in a bluesy, slow tempo, almost grinding or pulsating ballad seeps out down the street.
Where the hell's the sound coming from?
There may be a speakeasy up toward the corner. And they move all the time, so maybe it's down the street toward the intersection.
Right. That's nice and all, but let me see if I can get to Eddie's place because that doesn't. Something's wrong. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try the door again.
All right. The door is locked.
Door's
But
locked.
to a desperate man, maybe it's flimsy enough.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Well, geez, I know a little bit about locks. Let me see if I can kind of jimmy this thing before I just instead of smashing the damn door.
All right.
Don't just goes landlord or anything. Okay, if I take out a couple of picks, I've had to go into a door or two.
I imagine so. As an upstanding, good reporter who needs to get to the truth.
Hey, we're talking about good reporting, good reporter, not good moral good. And even so, the public's right to know is a lot more important than some other things. So
All right.
I'm guessing I'm going to make with the dice.
Yeah.
Okay, goody.
So how competent do you feel about this?
Feel pretty confident. I mean, like, you know, about 50-50 competent. 51-49, as a matter of fact.
I see.
And this is
How'd that
a
work out?
2-7. 2-7. 27.
So, you know, your hands shaking from the cold, and no one's going to suggest that they're shaking from fear. You know, you get the picks out, and it's dark, and your own shadow over the door is obscuring what little light there is. And of course, you haven't really recovered from the blinding flash of light, and green amorphous blobs are looming and glomming onto your focus point. But you get the picks into the kind of crude lock and feel that familiar placement of tumblers and other metallic protrusions inside, and you know the habit of it kind of calms you down a little bit, and then there is the click of success.
They're turning them out and pushing that door open and then closing it behind me.
Okay. Now inside there is nothing but a staircase and a wall of mailboxes for the tenants.
Right. I dashed up the stairs and Eddie's before, so I'll go up there and see what the hell's going on, if he's there or not.
Mailboxes are to the left, the staircase right in front. The paint is a heavy lead paint, and it's all chipped and worn away from use. And there is the smell that someone has relieved themselves in this narrow passage at some point not too long ago.
Yeah.
And every step, it sounds like a gunshot or a long creak as your weight comes onto it, Every
Good.
step up to the second floor, to the point where it starts to seem a little ludicrous, right? The stress, the beating heart. The sounds of the music from the street fade away as if they were never there. Your eyes adjust to the darkness, and you make the first landing and turn and start ascending toward the front window, which is next to Eddie's window. And again, you're faced at the top of the landing with a door. And again, it says Edward Driscoll, Confidential Investigations. But this time, the door is ajar.
Oh, good. Well, I don't know. Waste no time. Push it right open with a kind of a knock push. Eddie, in there?
And there is, your eyes detect a little light inside, as if from a single short candle, and it flutters as you push the door open. Right. Eddie has 2 rooms, a narrow one in the front, and then there's a small passage into his office in the back. He doesn't actually have a window. So his secretary's desk is right in front of you. As the door opens, you're looking at the desk. She has the window to her side. She's got this old water cooler, right? And some sick rubber plant. And on her desk is a really old-fashioned, silver ring with a small candle on it and a loop for your fingers, just sitting on top of a stack of bills and that sort of stuff scattered across her table. She's not there. But there is a very strange smell. Not candle wax, right? Not some kind of cheap cigarette or cigar smoke. Not whatever it is that he's been drinking or spilling. Certainly not the urine from the hallway.
No.
Some other smell, more like the docks than what you'd expect from this dry old office building.
Oh. It's weird. The candle's lit.
The candle is lit. It's been burning for a while based on the convoluted wax.
And there's another door to get actually into Eddie's office.
That's right. And it is also ajar.
All right, well, I continue with a loud
no light
knocking.
in there.
No light. So, I'm going to grab this little candle, gingerly and do another loud knock, kind of open the door, mostly because he's probably passed out. If he hasn't answered me already.
Okay.
Yeah. He might have drunk himself into a stupor already.
Right. So this is a very flimsy, cheap door. And again, stenciled on it is Edward Driscoll, Confidential Investigations, and as you knock on the whole door, kind of shakes. But against the back of your fingers, it's freezing cold.
Freezing, like, jeez.
And it slowly, and then bumps into something and kind of quivers back from it.
So something like, how far is it opening? Like, enough to get me to get through, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to, because of the candle, you have to turn like sideways to get through, and it's not. It doesn't seem like it hit anything particularly dense.
Right. I'm looking at it, I'm not seeing anything else.
Looking through the angle the door allows, right? The very first thing you can see is one of Eddie's filing cabinets, right? And on top of it, just piles and piles of paper. And across to the far wall where there's a bunch of certificates, most of which have no meaning, like shooting range certificates and Golden Gloves certificates and things like that. That's what you can see through the amount of space you have through the door.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to push it open a little, let me see if I can push this object out of the way just enough to get in there.
There's no resistance to your push, but you can hear the sound of something scraping across the floor that's behind the door.
Huh. So I'm pushing it open and taking a better look in the room.
As you get the view of the full room, right, from the candlelight, shadows are leaping wildly because as the door moves, it's disturbing the air, right? And it's much colder in this room than it is in the front office, almost like you've walked into a refrigerator or an ice box. You can see Eddie's desk, and in the shadow thrown against the wall of Eddie's desk, again piled with papers and a big bottle of some Irish thing or other, right? In that jagged shadow against the wall, you can see Eddie, his legs sticking out straight in front of him and his head hanging down, so his chin's resting on his chest. He's jammed into the corner. Just limp like a rag doll.
Ah, jeez.
On the floor, between the door and the desk, but not the object that you were pushing, is like a medieval book. It's got leather straps around it and big buckles. Face down, like it had been opened and dropped, right? So you can see back cover, the spine, and the front cover, and these buckles splayed out like tentacles across the floor. And it's big. You'd hold it, in both hands, or you'd need some kind of stand to hold it up.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. And so, given that, like a what the hell glance, or the kind of cursory glance, like, can't believe he's that trashed already. I'm just kind of glancing over to see what was behind the door. Let's see if I can identify what the hell I was pushing out of the way.
It's a shoe. An empty shoe.
No, okay. Right. Eddie!
That shoe is highly polished. Glittering in the candlelight. Just one shoe. Eddie's wearing both of his.
Right. Highly polished, like a nice shoe?
Really nice shoe.
Great. One really nice shoe. That doesn't anybody any good. Eddie, wake up. Because clearly he's drunk himself into a stupor this early in the day.
Well, could be. So we got two filing cabinets again in the wall that the door is in. The door that the wall opens against is basically blank, and it just leaves just enough space for two visitor chairs and the desk and Eddie's chair. And next to Eddie, right underneath all of his certificates, is a small sink, shaving mirror, that kind of stuff. And his whole life is caught up in this room. And he's in pretty good shape, really. Like, he may have dressed up for this meeting. His cuffs are frayed. You can see clearly in the candlelight his hands are exposed, right? See his frayed cuffs, and his collars doesn't quite attach well to his shirt. But a nice looking tie, and the shirt's pretty clean, that kind of stuff. He's out cold. and there's a crack in the plaster in the corner, right, that goes across both walls, right? Which, if Eddie were standing, it'd be about where his head would hit. Then
Right.
he's slumped underneath it.
Crack been there forever? I mean, I can't. I mean,
No, it's a new
that's
crack.
a new crack.
And there's plaster dust on the tops of his shoulders.
Jesus. And he's out cold. Breathing?
He's breathing.
And it's cold as hell in here. What the hell is that about?
There's no window in here, so
Right.
there's also no heat in here.
Jeez. Ah, great. He's out cold. And does it smell like booze? I think he's hit his head. I mean, I'm trying to figure out whether he's drunk or whether he's might have hit his head.
Want to lean in and take a good whiff?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. No, he smells like aftershave. He's clean shaven.
Mm.
And no, there's no smell of booze.
Just gonna check the back of his head.
Oh, it's wet, and your fingers come away red in the candlelight.
Oh man. Eddie, come on, fella, wake up. Give him a whack, and shake him a little bit more. Now I'm pretty concerned.
Okay. So with some tender ministrations, you bring him around. Right. And he's trying to get his hands up to stop you from, slapping his face and that stuff, and his eyes are rolling, and he weakly, he's a strong man, right? But he's out of focus, he's blurry, maybe he's concussed or whatever it is that happens to those punch drunk fighters, right? But he grabs onto your suit, right? And said, "What did you do? What did you do?"
I haven't done a damn thing, Ed. What the hell did you do? What's going on here? You hit your head pretty hard. You're bleeding back there.
It takes him a second, and then he recognizes who you are. He says, "I don't think I can stand up. Help me up."
Yeah, sure, man. So I'm helping him up. I'll get him at least out of this cold room, put him in the other cold room, but not quite so cold. Behind the secretaries, at least to a secretary's chair or something like that.
Right. So, he's gingerly feeling the back of his head, and he's looking at the blood on his fingers. So I don't have the money for a doc. Oh, tonight would have been. Oh, and he pushes away like, you bastard! You screwed everything up. What did you do?
I haven't done a damn thing. I showed up here looking for you. I saw this ridiculously bright light. I thought something like, I don't know, like something blew up in your office or something. And then go up here and it's freezing in here. You're slumped over on the side. You got a big, looks like you hit your head against a wall or something.
And then kind of like the pieces in his head kind of fit together a little better, right? He finds his way to his secretary's chair, right? Kind of half sits, half falls in it, and it creaks alarmingly under his weight. And most of his weight is muscle, let's be fair.
Right.
But this is a lady's chair, and not an expensive one. He goes, "Where's Gavigan?"
Gavigan? I didn't see him. I didn't see anybody.
He was right here.
Listen, nobody was here. I'm like, as I'm talking to him, going back in his office, I'm looking for something that looks like a rag. Then I can just put some water from his sink, I'm like moving the papers over, grabbing something so I can at least, give him something to wipe his head with. And
he's got a ratty towel and a ratty washcloth. And all
of course he does. Of course he does. I'm grabbing one of those. And I mean, listen, he wasn't here. The closest thing I've seen to Gavigan or anybody like that is this freaking shoe. I picked this shoe up. It's like, The shoe looks like it could buy both me and you dinner for the week. Except there's not,
Yeah.
not the other one. Only one. But he's not here.
It's the book. Where's the book?
Oh, I mean, that freaking Gutenberg Bible, whatever the hell that thing is, that's on the floor. What about it?
Get it.
All right. Would you like me to do anything else for you, sir?
Take a hike.
Yeah, hold on.
Stumbles
I'm
into
gonna grab this book off this mammoth book off the floor.
It comes right up because it's just the covers.
No pages, no.
There's like a sawtooth pattern of ripped pages in some spots against the thick glue substance inside the spine, and ripped fabric and but basically the cover has been separated from the contents.
And by the contents on the floor, or are they just gone?
Just not any sign of them anywhere in this office.
It's not much of a book here, Eddie, but you got some dump of the book or what's left of it on his secretary's desk.
All right. And as it flops on the desk, right, entangled in one of the straps and buckles, a human finger falls free,
Jeez.
freshly torn from its hand.
So I'm looking at the finger. Yeah, I'm looking at Eddie. I'm looking at the finger. Holy Jesus, Eddie. Who was here with you, man? Somebody left a finger here. Who's that?
Albert Gavigan was here. He was the only one here. I even had to send Agnes home.
Why?
He didn't want anyone to know he was here, dumbass.
All right, fine. But, geez, well, somebody's going to know. He's only going to, he's going to be easy to spot now. One shoe and 9 fingers. You mind telling me what the hell's going on here? I thought you were going to give me some juicy information on what the hell's going on with this guy. And I'm not expecting this. Start talking, man. We got a story in here somewhere.
Now the realizations are starting to stack up. Secret meetings, back room. Enough violent force to hurl this big man.
Right.
250 if he's an ounce. Right. Into a wall and knock him out cold without leaving a mark on him.
Right.
And grabbing someone, shaking someone hard enough to pull their shoe off, still laced, and literally rip off a finger. None of this stuff adds up.
No, not at all.
So I invite you to please roll your sanity.
Okay.
If you would.
Oh, my sanity. Let's see. How about there? Sanity. No, 34 against 65.
Okay. Whatever it is, there has to be a reasonable explanation.
Has to be an explanation. There's got to be an explanation. Hey, listen. You got any more? I mean, you got another bottle? What the hell is going on there? I need a drink. I'm sure you do.
No, man. That's just
all right.
That's just a front. Because we got to find him, and he's not steady on his feet. He's going over the filing cabinet. He's pulling it open. He's taking out his shoulder holster. He's got a big, well-oiled 45 in it. She takes out, he checks receipts in the holster, and he's trying to get his jacket off, and he's trying to put the holster on all at the same time because his
Right.
thoughts are not connected fully to the reality of a situation, and he never stops swaying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of helping. Sure. Let's go find him. But let me know on the way. Tell me what the hell's going on here. Because if I know any better, I'd say like a stick of dynamite went off in your office. Except, you don't have powder all over you. The only thing that's messed up on you is the back of your head. All we got left of Gavigan is a shoe and a finger. But there should be a whole body here. So something's not active. Explain what the hell's going on here? What aren't you telling me?
Well, I can't trust you. You work for the Post. I can't tell you anything. It's just going to be on the front page, and I'll never get paid.
Paid? Who's paying you?
Well, probably nobody now.
Listen. It's in my best interest, not to completely blow you as a contact. We could talk about what I actually put in the paper, but something's not at.
Nothing in the paper. Not, well, I mean, my name could be in the paper for my heroic.
We'll do something
solving
heroic
of the
first.
Case.
Yeah, okay, fine. I don't know what the hell the case is so far.
All right. I got to sit down. It's like he's got his jacket half on, half off. Right. He's got the gun in his hand. He puts that on the desk, and he fumbles around for a water glass, and he kind of looks at the water glass, which is empty, and can't seem to solve the problem of how to get water in the glass.
Okay, I'm grabbing it from him. So hold on. Get him a drink. He said there's a cooler right there, or run to a sink. Well, either or.
So from the cooler, there's this big bloop of air bubbles, and then you bring him back to the water, and he's been rubbing his face, and he's got his handkerchief pressed to the back of his head, and you can see the blood is spreading through the thin material of the handkerchief. And he says, all right, I had a meeting tonight. I had to send Agnes home because Albert Gavigan wanted me to find 2 other books to match that book.
What the hell's that book?
Oh, I don't know. It's some. The name's on the cover. It's in some Latin or whatever. What the book is not important.
Right.
He was showing me the bindings and the fittings because I had to get the original. He was convinced someone was going to be making copies of them, and I had to destroy all the copies, and I had to bring him back the original. And he was really weird about this. He said I had to burn the copies and make sure they all burned to ash, and I had to wait with the ashes for 2 days. And then he shows me the book. No, he showed me the book first. And the next thing I know, you're here talking about shoes.
Okay. So Gavigan's flipped his lid. Mad as a hatter.
No, he seemed totally. I mean, he's intense. All the Gavigans are intense.
But he wants you to find books and burn them all and wait for 2 days looking at the ashes. Sounds like a crackpot to me. But
well, I don't.
So you don't remember anything else that happened?
2 books were stolen from the estate.
I think I heard about some stuff getting stolen. Yeah.
And then the auction house. Right. Then 1 book turned up in the auction house. And then the auction house was robbed.
Right.
So he's getting desperate. He needs them back. They're great value for some reason. I don't know. And now all I got is the cover of the original one.
And as I'm picking up the cover and looking at it and seeing what it actually says, I'm talking to him at the same time. And so, where does he say these other books are? You got to go find them wherever the hell they are.
Well, he had no clue, and the cops told him they had no resources to commit to this kind of investigation. But he came to me because he thought I might know the kind of underworld lowlives that, would be willing to take the risk to break into a secure estate like the Gavigan estate. And, try to move these priceless artifacts. The whole thing, it doesn't sound like anybody I know in the Boston underworld, as he put it.
No, I don't think book theft is really, lucrative right now.
There's no gemstones. There's no gold or anything like that on the covers, and he just keeps like batting the cover in his frustration, and then he flips it open and all the pages are gone except for one. Then he's kind of pulling and testing the first page, the introduction page, where illuminated by thus and such a monk. But here's where I need you to check your sanity once again, because that page wasn't there when you looked.
Right. $14 versus $65. It must have been stuck.
Must have been stuck.
Okay, let me see. And at this point, I'm like, all right, Eddie's.
But there's a small voice in the back of your mind that knows it wasn't stuck. When you remember this tomorrow, you'll know it was just stuck there. But right now, you know for sure that page wasn't there just a minute ago.
Yeah.
And in the corner of your ear, right? Like weevils or something gnawing inside your pillowcase at night. You can hear this kind of rustling, almost paper chewing sound. It's not in the room. Maybe it's nowhere at all.
It's gonna give me that. Listen, man, you're the. Take a look at this. This one, Eddie's Eddie's a great PI and a muscle bound. But like this.
He was a much better boxer than a PI. Yes.
Much better. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. And, he's lucky if he can read his own signs. So I'm just gonna take a look at this page and the front of the book and see if I can make any heads or tails of.
Right. So
this stuff
with the fancy script, that medieval illuminated script you're used to from Bibles and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to make out what these foreign names are. Maybe it's a Johannes, illuminated by Johannes so and so and that sort of stuff. But the title is a little clearer. That's just two big words. The second one is some foreign version of the word mystery or mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, the first word, starts with a V, maybe an E, probably an R, and then some letter N, M, something like that, W maybe, and then two I's, and then no idea what the last letter is. It's just it's just a mess. So some kind of mystery. It's a book about mysteries. And on this page, there are two illuminations, one in the top corner, one in the bottom corner. Top corner is just of a monk or a friar or something like that with a manuscript, a giant tome, much like this one should be originally. And then in the bottom corner, there's some kind of very formal, round, like shield-like design or something like that, an embossment or whatever. And its main feature is a skull, right? Surrounded by roses. And as you go around the circle of roses, we go from full bloom to withered.
Right.
So very, incredible detail and bright color, that stuff. The paper is not really paper. It's some kind of leather or whatever, vellum, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, fancy. Yeah. Huh. So, and you think this is what you're worried to tell me? That I'm going to put this in the paper? This is what I'm going to bring back to my editor?
What I'm worried about is that you go back to your editor and said that Albert Gavigan was in this office, and then he wasn't. And then tomorrow, everyone will realize that he's gone.
All right, then let's go find him.
And then the fingers would come pointing at me.
And yeah, I kind of nudged the one. Look, yeah, you don't want that. Here, let's get this the hell out of here, and then let's. What do you think we should look for him?
Wow.
Because he ain't here.
Well, maybe some. Do you think it's possible some goons came in and took him, and I got hit on the head so hard I just don't remember?
Maybe. I mean, well, what time was it when you got here? Because I've been across the street for a while.
Literally, he comes in, he shows me the book, he puts it on the desk, and he starts explaining. 20 minutes, maybe?
Right. But I mean, was it this dark? I mean, how long ago was it? Okay.
We had the. He's looking around. He said, "Where's my candle?"
And I'm looking for where I put it.
Not that candle.
Oh,
his candle.
His candle
from his office.
I don't think there was a candle in your office.
But you think I was sitting in there having a meeting with the rich dude in the dark?
Well, it was dark when I got here. So I'm going to go back and just take a look in his office to see if the candle's like on the floor someplace or nothing. Nothing. You got nothing.
Now, could you, for me, as you're doing this investigation, right? The human mind works the way it will. So you're looking for a candle holder and a candle, right? In all the places that someone would put it down, like they're going to resist putting it down on the stack of papers. So maybe they're going to put it over here or something like that, or where it's going to throw the best light. And sometimes the human mind will shy away from the things that it doesn't want to see. But a sharp man like you, or a porter who wants to find the truth, he might probe a little deeper. He might not. But we'll see if you can spot what your mind would like to hide from you, if you would.
Okay.
Spot.
So okay. Right on. 38 against 75. So yes, I'm pretty good at this.
So
Rick, where would I be if I wasn't?
What you have been avoiding, what your eyes have been sliding away from, is that there isn't just one shoe in Eddie's office. The problem is that the other shoe is half in and half out of the wall behind the door, as if it was plastered there.
Eddie, come here. Bring the camera. I mean, I guess I got the other camera. Come here. What? I'm like pulling on the shoe to see what the hell is.
Like it's always been there.
And it's just like it's stuck in the wall. What the hell?
And
I'm looking at this.
It doesn't compress like an empty shoe.
This is important. Is it facing me like the sole?
Yeah,
The toe, or the opening of the shoe where one would put their foot is
in the wall.
Is in the wall.
You can see the laces and you can see the brogue.
Yeah. Right.
And there's no wear on the bottom of the shoe, right? Of the original shoe you found, or this shoe is like he never walks on anything that would take the leather off the bottom of his shoe.
Right. And now I'm kind of calling Eddie a little more sharply. Eddie! And I'm kind of, at this point, I'm squeezing the shoe a little bit more, just trying to.
It definitely feels like there's a foot in there.
Jesus.
Sanity check, please.
Okay. Let's see, 08.
Nice. There could still be a rational, like you have begun to lie to yourself. Right. Maybe it's a hoax. Right.
Is Eddie? Is Eddie coming to the room by now?
Yeah, he's holding his head and he's offered an expletive that can't be shared in 1931.
Right. Just get a load of this. Like there's this other shoe. It's in the freaking wall. I'm wiggling it, and squeeze.
Let's go to the docks. And what he means is that the other office on this floor is a doctor. Not a real doctor anymore.
Good enough. More of a doctor than Eddie or I am. Okay.
So like he's stumbling toward the front of the room, and he's stumbling out his front door into the narrow landing and going down the hallway right to the office door at the back of the building.
Right. Okay. I'm just following. I'm kind of like a little dumbfounded right now.
And so all it says on the window, the frosted glass, it just says consulting. Yeah. Right. And he's trying the door, says it's locked. The doc's not there. And he's grinding, like his head is still not right. He's trying to he could easily shoulder through the door, right? Or he could punch through the glass and open the door, but he's stuck by this door. Should I open it or not open it? The doc, of course, being connected.
Right. So I'm going to the door and I'll pound on the door a little bit.
It's definitely locked.
It's definitely locked. Nobody's answering.
And much better door
quality
than.
Mm-hmm. Jesus. If anybody asks you broke in. Hold this light, would you? Just hold the light. Just hold the light and pull on those little lock picks again.
All right.
Maybe some bandages or something. I'm not sewing the back of your head up, I'll tell you that.
Are you in a rush, or are you going to take your time?
I'm going to take my time.
Then you get your way through.
Okay, yeah.
The lock.
All right.
So it takes a little bit of time. It's a nicer quality lock than out on the street, but it's a known brand, a trusted brand, on which you've practiced.
Mm-hmm.
and you hear the satisfying click.
Like after you.
So he turns the knob, opens the door, and he says, "Don't touch anything."
Oh, trust me, I won't.
And he reaches out to turn on the lights.
Right.
Unlike him, who hasn't been able to pay power bills.
Right. If you're in consulting, you might be able to pay somewhere.
If you're in consulting, you might be able to afford the electricity. So he flicks,
exactly.
Or more precisely, he joins the circuit. Right? He flips up,
Right.
and there's a buzzing sound from the ceiling and a tinkling sound of heating glass, and then the room is illuminated. And this front office is very nicely furnished. It doesn't look anything like a doctor's office. But somewhere in these rooms, the doctor is in, kind of thing. Right. So there are two doors to choose from. Eddie goes unerringly to the door that's going to take him to the room that is next to his office.
Okay.
Right. So you've come down the hallway around. He goes, just cuts across the room, opens the door, and goes into what is an operating theater. And he goes right to his wall, and he's running his hands over the wall. This wall is between his office and the stairwell, and between, so this wall is between the stairwell and the doc's office, and Eddie's office and the doc's office. Right. And so it goes all the way to the end, and it has a window, right? But it's all screened up. And there's no accompanying leg or anything like that coming through the wall. And he's trying to find his place, how high the shoe was. It was about mid-thigh high in the wall, and so he says, "Help me move this shelf."
That's it. Tell me not to touch anything. Hold on. So grabbing the shelf, pushing the shelf.
And it makes so much noise, right, across the wooden floorboards.
Yeah.
And protruding neatly, right, like coral through the surface of the ocean, is the top of Albert Gavigan's shoe, and the jagged, ripped, cracked, and splintered bone and flesh and muscle of his ankle, with a sock, and the sock garter dangling limply from it.
Son of a bitch.
There are fresh scratches on the floor where you and Eddie moved the shelf. No other scratches on the floor at all.
Sure you don't have any booze, Eddie?
And sadly, we have to cut it here because I have to go.
That's great. You sure Eddie doesn't have any booze? I'm looking. Does Doc have any booze?
What do you think?
Oh, that's great. Is this to be continued? I hope. Oh my God.
I hope so. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, Jesus.
And maybe you can recruit as naturally occurs to the character, but or we can keep it as a solo investigation. Doesn't matter.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Think the Doc will notice?
So what do you think about the sanity check?
Oh, I'm liking that. I'm
Yeah.
liking that. I'm liking the way it's used. Kind of like, that can't really be.
Now, some sand checks are so extreme
Right.
that their sanity loss pass or fail, right?
Right.
So it's more like a saving throw in that regard, like save for an amount, a lesser amount, and you've passed all your sanity checks. So the character's being shocked, the character's being continually unnerved, right?
Yeah.
It has
No,
absolutely nothing to connect it to. Like, oh my God, cosmic horrors from beyond space and time are coming to ruin my day. Ah, it's none of that.
right.
So this could
Exactly.
be some
Yeah.
sick joke by the mob, or
This kind of stuff happens to me at least once a week. What the hell is that? Did I put that there? This always been in my house.
I
No,
forgot about
I
my
like
ritual sacrifice table
that.
next to my
This is-
obsidian altar. Where did
Yeah.
I leave my sacrificial knife?
Yeah, I've got the group of animals that my feet has actually grown. There's a cat and a dog. They're here to protect me. But no, that's cool. I dig how that's going. I actually did not read anything but character creation and just like skills and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that I would immediately need, and it was partly because of lack of time, and it's partly because I'm like, what, I'm not going to read everything, and right off the bat,
It's just
I'd rather kind of go
BRP,
and
it's,
yeah. I mean, I do enough to create the character the way that they do it, but I don't want to read too much of the. I get an idea of what the mechanics are, and be like, I just don't even go there.
right.
See
So
how
if
that
you had
stuff-
decided to shoulder through the door
right,
instead of pick the lock, right? If we're playing around a table,
Mhm.
I'd have a screen up, not because I want to hide anything behind the screen, but because on the back of the screen is the resistance table,
right, yep.
which
I do
has
have that. I
active
do have that.
characteristics and passive characteristics, right? So I simply would point, right? Oh, you want to shoulder your way
Right.
through the door, and I would point because I've got it on the same spot on my side, right? Point to the passive characteristic of the door, right?
Mhm.
And then you'd look across and find where your strength meets
Yep.
the toughness of the door, and that will give you.
Yeah,
the
I've actually
percent
got that.
you need.
I've actually got that page bookmarked.
Yeah.
Because unlike other people, I think the resistance table is cool. Why could you not like the resistance table?
I'm
My goodness,
still
they've done a lot of
somewhat
work for you
baffled at
here.
all the hate about the resistance table.
There's a lot of. I mean, they did a lot of the hard work for you. Oh, no, it's right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that would have been a rule that we didn't have.
Right.
When you were trying to pick the lock, you were terrified.
Right.
You're in a hurry. So we didn't gloss over it. We didn't just say, "Oh yeah, you can pick the lock," or we didn't get into a conversation about, "Well, what is your skill?" and
Right.
and that sort of stuff. You rolled. Right? You either succeeded or you failed. Later on, there's no immediate threat. There's curiosity, right? Eddie's concerned about leaving traces on the door and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
we take our time and you get through the lock.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
The character is competent enough in that to begin with. That's like, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I absolutely was right there with the being freaked out for various reasons, not being able to see very well because of the light, and the light blindness, and looking back, and it's freezing cold. And so I was like, oh yeah, shaking and the whole thing. So yes, that made perfect sense. And so I was right there. Plus the cold breeze coming in from my window for atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which was not on
Verisimilitude,
purpose,
babies.
but it helped. But it helped.
Yeah.
That was cool. Well,
And then
yeah, let's do it
some
again.
of the little things that I like to do,
Yeah.
right, would never come out in play, probably, right? But the song I had you listen to so that you could imagine it in the moment, right?
Mhm.
There are times, like if we're together in the same room, I might play something that the character really hears,
Right.
but I prefer to use their imagination of it, right?
Right.
And what I like to do is, like, that song comes from 1939.
Right. Yeah.
But we're playing in 1931. And you are not hearing a song like that song. You are hearing that song.
Right.
What does that mean? Maybe nothing. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Spooky.
Spooky.
But then again, I wouldn't know that song been written yet. So, but yeah, just what the hell is that? And that was quite the provocative song, even when it came out. So I could imagine just was hearing that.
Yeah. As you're crossing the street, like, where's it coming from? That the street was silent before. There's no light from this open door that I'm imagining that's allowing the sound to spill out into the street anyway.
And would you get a load of those lyrics? Top it off. Oof.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good time.
No,
try
that was
again
awesome.
next week.
All right, that was awesome. I think my blood pressure went up by 20 points during the whole thing.
That's the power of the human mind.
I know, it's freaky. Right, guys?
Is everything about Terrence the way that you like?
Yeah, and I think it's fine. I think that's fine. I figured, it was pretty easy to like put together something and figure like, well, what does he really want to be good at? And then, the other stuff is, I looked at all the various like base chances and whatnot. It's like, okay, if this guy thinks he's going to, if he picks up a gun because he feels he's going to have to defend himself, well, it'll make a loud bang. It might scare somebody. Well, that's right. Cool. I mean,
hey. I guess people do that sort of stuff.
Think people do that all the time. All you have to do is look around,
Yeah.
Everybody owns a
gun. I have a gun.
Oh yeah, that's normal. I don't know if I was in Canada or Korea, but in America, oh yeah.
All right.
I'm not afraid to hurt myself with it. All right.
Gotta let you go. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, no, have a good day, man. Thanks you very much for running. Yeah,
My pleasure.
I'm doing all right. Take it easy, man. You're good.